Hey, what is up guys, GuitarRock here, welcome back to another Counter-Side video. Alright, let's talk a little bit about Counter-Side Global, get you guys prepared, and I want to talk a little bit about the top 5 characters that I think most players need to try to get or need to try to obtain early on. Alright, so this is going to apply more for the global players rather than for Counter-Side C server, but if you are playing on any other server, I feel like the same 5 character rule applies, and I feel like these first 5 characters are going to help you in the long run. So let's jump into it. Now first things first, I haven't been playing much on the global CBT, and that's because they are going to wipe out the progress entirely afterwards. So I'm not sure how long the CBT will last, but once the CBT ends, there's going to be this thing called the OBT, I believe. And that's when all the progress is going to be saved. So no matter how much you play in the CBT, and let's show you guys. Right here I have the CBT open, so even though you get like all these bonus free recruit 10 times a day, but yeah, you still lose your progress afterwards, so I don't see the point for me to go all in on the CBT right now. But of course, if you're a new player trying out the game, you want to gather some experience or knowledge in the game, for sure, right? By all means, try to play and enjoy the game and see if this is something for you. Obviously, you can't spend any money in the game yet. In the CBT, the entire process of trying to buy any packages is disabled. So as you can see, there's no package. So let's talk about the top 5 characters when this game officially launches in global. Now keep in mind, I'm not aware of what global's first exclusive banner is going to be. But for C server, when C server first came out, if I remember correctly, there was like one banner, but it's a mixture of Lumi and Gaeun. So basically you are able to pull one of those 2 characters. So Gaeun, if you want to pull for her, she's definitely going to be a decent one, which is this character right here, right? I feel like Gaeun has fallen off in the C server slightly. In terms of the PvE scenario, she will get replaced by Rosara later on. Alright, so whether you like it or not, if you compare damage, Rosara is going to do way more damage as a ranger all throughout. And then once you get Awaken Xiao, you get like Awaken Lee Suyeon, everything, you are probably going to have those replace Gaeun in your PvE stage. That's just an unfortunate truth, and I know there's a lot of people that love her. I do like her design, I do love her concept, but she's going to be much more of a PvP unit rather than a PvE one. However, in C server, when she was first released in the C server, the first 2 weeks she was available, and after that she was pretty much perma-banned. If you guys are not aware how PvP works, is there's going to be the ban and buff system, right? So every single week in ranked battle, there is some units that will have their cost increase. Alright, so for example, some characters will get ban 1. Ban 1 means their cost is increased by 1, and ban 2 will be their cost increased by 2. And Gaeun is always like either ban 2, ban 3 or ban 4, which is pretty ridiculous. She's always on the top list of the PvP ban, which makes her really hard to recommend, especially if you're a new player and you have limited resources, right? So it's hard to recommend, oh, get Gaeun for PvP when she's always going to be banned most of the time. Now I'm not sure if that's the same thing that will happen in global, but if that's been happening in KR server and it's been happening in C server, most likely that's the same thing that's going to happen in global as well. So in that case, let me bring you guys to a different ranger altogether, which I do recommend, is Kyl Wong. Now this is a bit of a hot take. I know nobody likes to pull for dudes. I know Kyl Wong is a dude and you guys would prefer to pull for waifu. I totally get it, alright? But if you want to have an easier time, Kyl Wong is by far one of the best rangers, and he still is one of the best rangers up to date. So there's not many character that can beat what Kyl Wong does. And in terms of comparing Kyl Wong and Gaeun, personally, if Gaeun is not always banned in PvP, I would recommend going Gaeun. But because, you know, based on my experience, she's always banned almost. So Kyl Wong is going to be the safer option for most players. Unless you're someone that's willing to spend a little bit on the game, maybe go for both of them. Alright, I don't think it's that hard to obtain both Kyl Wong and Gaeun, but I would say try to get Kyl Wong if you can. He's going to be one of the best rangers that you can invest in early on. And even up till now, I still use him in almost all the PvE stage in the game. Now let's move on to the second best unit in my opinion is going to be Xiao Lin. Alright, Xiao Lin is one of the better units you can obtain as well. Probably one of the better snipers to obtain early on, for sure. Now she might be complicated to use in PvP because if you are new to the game and she's a 4-cost unit and she dies very easily, if you don't be careful when you deploy her, she's just going to die like a paper, she is, and you might end up wasting that 4 cost. But if you know how to play around her, you know, and you just be careful that she's squishy and you have someone protect her in front. She's definitely going to be one of the best damage dealers you can have in the game to get rid of strikers, etc. So Kyl Wong and Xiao Lin, I would say these would be the top 2 priority. But if I have to choose between Kyl Wong and Xiao Lin, which one would I go for first? Personally, I would say Kyl Wong, because here's a very important thing that you need to know. Early on, like the other day I was trying to do this as well on the global CBT. You are going to try to tackle this particular stage, which is the simulation stage. Alright, simulation is divided into 3: attack training, defense training, and anti-air training. A lot of units that are introduced in the beginning doesn't have the ability to hit air, including Xiao Lin. So Kyl Wong is going to be one of the better units to be able to help you in the anti-air stage. Pretty much almost all the defenders can't hit air yet. You gotta wait for Serapel for that. Even Awakened Healer can't hit air. You're gonna have someone stand just in front and you need someone to be hitting the air from the back. So Kyl Wong is gonna be very useful in this stage. And this is very important, especially early on. If you're farming for cores, you're gonna need a lot of that. Alright, so if you're starting out in your account, you want to have a strong account to start out, Kyl Wong, get him first if you can, because he's gonna be helpful here, followed by Xiao Lin. Now the third one, I'm gonna say Evelyn. Alright, so Evelyn can do a lot of things that a lot of other characters can't. She's very strong early on. She's one of the best healers in the game, number 1. Number 2, she's an air unit. If you have been listening what I mentioned earlier, being an air unit have an advantage. Even in PvP, a lot of people are going to bring basically characters that cannot hit air. So she will have an edge not only in PvE but also in PvP. Evelyn is one of the best healers. She still is by far the best healer in the game. I feel like there's no other SSR that can do what she does. Even Chinatsu, which is another SSR supporter, I don't think she heals as much as her. So she's more of a damage reduction character. But Evelyn, if you have to invest in only one healer, I would definitely place my bets on Evelyn. Now, if you somehow do not have Evelyn, Claudia is the next closest character that you can obtain. So Claudia Nelson, she is a healer as well, but she is an R character, alright, as opposed to an SR. So she is also easily obtainable. She's probably the second best healer. In my opinion, I still prefer Evelyn over Claudia. So why is that? Because Claudia, she only heals. But Evelyn, she not only heals, but she has an ability right here on her ultimate skill where she basically buff everybody's attack. Alright, as you can see, attack of all allies plus 15% for 15 seconds after she used this skill. Alright, not only does she heal, she also gives attack boost, which is something that is very valuable. Alright, so these two healers, if it's possible, try to obtain them early on. They're going to be very good until the late game. Now, in terms of striker, in my opinion, the best one that you can have early on is going to be Chifuyu. I do think that she's going to be the solid choice moving forward. Now, some players might opt to go for Esterosa. Now, Esterosa is not bad, actually. Early on, she's going to be a beast in PvP. But the problem is in PvE, she can be a bit expensive in terms of what she does at 4 cost, because you're gonna have, you might not have Liumi accessible to you yet, but once you have her, she will be able to do all the tanking that you need. And yeah, Chifuyu is going to be decently good at tanking as well. She has the ability to do very well in a lot of PvE stages, and if you invest in her early on, it's gonna make your account future proof, because once danger close comes, she's going to be used in almost all the danger close stages, which is like a bi-weekly PvP boss thing that you'll fight every 2 weeks. So there's a lot of rewards right there. So I would say invest in a Chifuyu if you can early on to get your account as future proof as possible. Alright, so Lin Xien, definitely, if you guys haven't heard already, she's also very strong, but she's definitely much more of a PvE unit than a PvP unit. She's going to be extremely strong moving forward. I would say if you can, try to obtain her. She's an SR, so she's definitely much easier to obtain, much easier to invest to. What she does is she gives deployment cost every time she uses her ultimate skill, and also her passive skill gives return 2 deployment costs. So basically she's only a 2 cost unit because she gives back 2 costs when you deploy her, so 4 costs minus 2. So it's pretty insane for what she does. I would definitely consider her as an option. So yeah, those are the characters that in my opinion are very strong early on, so definitely make sure you guys try to obtain them. And also one last character that I want to mention that might have an exclusive banner is young Harim. So you might have the ability to pull for a young Harim early on. So if you see her on a banner, please pull for her. She's going to be insane. This lolly is like the strongest lolly ever. Like even till now, she's still the strongest lolly ever in the game, period. Alright, so there's just no argument. She's a supporter that gives everything. She gives a shield to your unit. Alright, she also increases everybody's skill haste, enabling them to do more skills in general. She also debuffs the enemy by decreasing enemy skill haste. She also heals on her ultimate and also boosts everybody's attack as well. So quite a lot of things going on for her in general. So make sure you guys get her. Alright guys, so with that being said, this is my top 5 or 6 or 7 characters that I would say look out for once global opens. Alright, if you guys get a strong head start, I would say try to get all of these characters, try to power them up. I think they will be able to help you out in almost all the PvE and PvP stages that you'll have early on. And then you can start focusing on a few others. So yeah, if you guys think I missed anything, feel free to let me know in the comment section below. As always, if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel, give this video a like. I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a nice day. Goodbye.